Welcome to Honestly Rated, and today we'll be talking about your favorite finger blasting robot, Bouncer. Bouncer's a giant that I saw a handful of people talk about last video and decided that he was going to be the next one where I take a look at his moveset and overall design to see if he is honestly good. But before we bounce right into his moveset, I do want to talk about his lore because that's what we do around here. So, Bouncer, before becoming a Skylander, was a all-star Roboto ball player. But when the Archaeans kinda, destroyed his whole hometown, he was modified and changed into being a security bot for the mines. And a lot of the Mabus there actually recognize him because he was quite famous as a ball player. And with that, he had this kind of contingency moment where he wanted to just be a hero for the people that really liked him. He was already a celebrity in those mines and decided he was going to join the Skylanders and defeat the evil Archaeans. So, nice job, Bouncer. It's a nice little switch up from them just being like, I beat up bad guy, Eon say I'm good, hooray. So, at least a little something different. Let me also put in the quick side note that if you want to see your Skylander Honestly Rated next, there is one quick step to qualifying for it, and that is just putting your Skylander down in the comments. And at some point, unless I see a really big push for them, you will get into the video. I'll do all of them, and the only thing that stops me from doing all of them is death. So unless Grim Reaper is like waiting right outside my door after this video, I promise you at some point it'll be done. But other than that, let us commence the Bouncer analysis. Kicking us off, we have finger guns and shoulder rockets, and these two moves are pretty self-explanatory. We got finger guns that act like guns, and guess what? Bullets come out of its finger. And it's a semi-fast shooting move. It's not super fast, but it's definitely not slow. And it does okay damage. Especially for level 12, it does pretty nice damage, actually. And the thing I do want to talk about, though, mostly is just shoulder rockets, because it's a little bit of a quirky option. Shoulder rockets are rockets that, guess what, come out of his shoulder. And the quirk about it is that if you jump, these rockets decide, I am not going to fall. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the giant's just so big that every time he lands, he just kind of stratifies that rocket and it just goes totally somewhere else. But if you jump, that rocket ain't coming down. And if it keeps going up, if it just went left, right, I don't know where it goes. But it doesn't come back down. And that's like the main issue with it. I don't think it's a bad issue. It's a bad issue for the arena. But if you're thinking about more just story-based levels and stuff like that, it's definitely not that bad of a deal. Just because Bouncer actually is semi-fast. Not even semi. He is actually pretty quick to be a giant. The whole giant thing was supposed to be like they're slow, bulky guys. No, that one wheel that he's got is actually pushing a lot of metal. So, shout out to Bouncer. I know he was in the whole Robo Field ball game over there. And I guess if you have to be like a star, you got to be semi-fast. But yeah, he's not bad. It's not too bad things. It's just a little bit of the quirkness on that rocket. But I'm not gonna say it's really a detriment. The first thing we can buy is I-Beam, and this is a move that personally I didn't like in the beginning, but I've grown a lot too. I-Beam is a beam that comes out of our eyes. Who would have guessed? And with it, the reason I didn't like it was because I was trying to pinpoint what it is its purpose. With most things with an Arsenal, especially if it's coming for his last move, his move that's supposed to, range him up in different ways, I was trying to really figure out why would this be beneficial to Bouncer than other just being looking pretty cool. And the way that I see it now is that I-Beam is really good at just killing one single target. The reason that I just didn't really think of why it would be beneficial is that Bouncer, for now at least, is a guy that kind of struggles in area fights. Even though he's got that rocket, if you gotta jump and you gotta like really run around and turn around and stuff like that, you maybe are gonna tend to get hit. But the nice combo of it is that if you do hit someone with a rocket and then have your I-Beams blast right onto them, you can usually take them out pretty quickly. And even though it's not, contributing to killing a whole group of enemies really quickly, it can really just shorten down that size to a more bearable level where maybe the rocket will eventually hit every single enemy that's inside that pocket, depending on how big the arena is and how many enemies are in there and stuff like that. So I grew to it. I definitely liked it. And something that someone mentioned me before I actually even started the video on one of the comments to do Bouncer was to just tap the button, and for some reason tapping it, okay, so in the beginning animation he does try to crosswire pinpoint, And with that, it has like a humongous hitbox for some reason. And personally, for now, with the damage it's doing, it's not super useful. It's semi-useful for smaller enemies, but we are a giant that can literally just kind of fucking run through them. So for right now, I don't really use it as that. I usually just use to kind of shred something really quickly, especially for bigger guys. But I promise you, it'll come in useful later. So just keep that little fact of that the little I-beams have a big-ass hitbox. Because I promise they'll come back later. But I-beams, I respect you. I don't think they're like crazy, right? I don't think it's really doing a lot. You're probably still going to get hit a good amount of times. It's a little hard to turn and stuff like that. But it definitely has its purpose. It's not useless in the slightest. Something I do find completely useless, though, is targeting computer. This move right here is something that I just don't think is beneficiary to me, to Bouncer, or to anybody that plays. I don't really know what the use of it could be, and the reason being is that with this move, you can now lock on with your rockets by shooting off a little laser. And by you see by the gameplay, I have to be completely stand still for this laser to come out. It makes sense. But the reason I just don't find it to make sense is because, well, our rockets already are locking on, right? It has to be kind of specific, but they still lock on. And even without the lock on, normally the explosion is enough to usually hit them. If not, if they miss them, it's by a literal graze, right? A little centimeter by it. And with this lock-on too, it's not doing more damage. If it did more damage, then I could see the benefit of like risking, standing still, and targeting enemies, and then doing damage. But no, it's doing the exact same damage that my normal rockets would do. So, what is the benefit of this? I don't know. And another thing about it too is that it has an extremely long wait time. Because for one, you have to lock on, right? So that's already some time kicking off for enemies walking towards you. Then you have to wait for the rockets to go out. And you can't stop this, right? You can't jump. If you jump, rockets go bye-bye. They fuck off, right? So now it just doesn't seem like there's any benefit to it. If it maybe did more damage, like the risk reward was a lot better, yeah, I think I could just be like, okay, I'll sit here and do a bunch of damage, and if I die, I die. But right now, I'm just gonna do the exact same thing, but it's like a masochist type of upgrade. Like, it's not doing much for me, but I'll get hurt more. So yeah, I just find this completely useless. Maybe if they do upgrade it, I know there's a path with this whole rocket thing. If they upgrade it, if it does more damage, I could give it a benefit then. Last two, machine gun finger guns and cooler I-beams, are just upgrades to things we already have, but it would be a disservice to not mention them. So, machine gun finger guns allows us to just hold down our button for finger blasting and blast a little faster. At least that's what it says. Personally, for me, I feel like I go faster if I just tap myself. So, I don't know, take that as you will. I personally think you do go faster if you just tap by yourself than letting it just go on by itself. I guess it just depends on the person. So, you know, if you're feeling a little lazy, you know, that it's good that's in the primary path. You don't have to think about choosing that one. But yeah, that's all that does. And then I-beams are allowing us to do more damage with it and make it sure that it doesn't overheat. Now, the reason I didn't really mention overheating with I-beams is that personally, I really didn't see it. It actually does take a while for the I-beams to overheat, and I personally don't use the I-beams for a long period of time, just so I can, you know, dodge attacks and not get hit, even though Bouncer, you know, 1,000 health. I still don't want to get hit, so personally I never really saw it, so just, I guess, putting more of a limit or more of a cap on what you can burn out yourself with is kind of crazy. So I guess now I'm never really going to see it, so it's cool. And also the more damage thing is actually something I should just kind of just say I'm happy for, because like I said before, with like that little tap button and it having a really far reach for some reason, it's actually a lot more beneficial towards enemies that have a lot more health than just the standard Chompy. And I used it a lot more for bigger areas, and I like that about it, having that double usage of it is semi area killer if you can do enough damage to the surrounding area with your rockets and stuff like that. And then if you just want to single down some one enemy, you're still doing a lot of damage. And then if you just press it, it can also maybe just kill things in the back. It's pretty nice. So yeah, I'm actually really forward for having a lot more damage with the I-beams. And that's all it. So up next is our paths, where the first one's it's going to deal with our rockets, and the last one's going to deal with a little bit of finger blasting and a little bit I-beaming. So on to the top path we go. With Robot Rocketeer, where we have double targets and rockets on demand as our first two. Double targets, I don't care about. It allows us to home up to 6 enemies. that doesn't really matter. I already have a problem with doing up to 3, so giving me 6 enemies to potentially home up to, I don't care for, right? It's just for me, completely wasteless. But the thing about the next one is that this one should have been a soul gem, because this one's actually fucking insane. What this allows us to do, this rocket shit, is that it allows us to just drop bombs willy-nilly. This one actually just lets us drop bombs willy-nilly. And the reason this is so good, right? I'm not homing up to 6 enemies, right? I'm not sitting there like, alright, I'll just target these guys. I can shoot whatever the fuck I want. I don't have to wait for 6. I can just shoot up to 10. And the nice thing about rockets, right, is that they're bouncing enemies up. So, like, they're stopping, and you can just keep following them. If you accidentally do target up to 6 enemies, though, he will stop, and then you'll just have to kind of quit. But after that, you can just keep going back. It's like Trigger Happy's machine gun, infinite ammo, right? That is insane. That's what I'm pretty sure that's his soul gem. This should have been his soul gem because it's the exact same way. You're just shooting infinite rockets. And if we had to go back to the previous argument with risk and reward, right? Shooting off 3 rockets standing still that do the exact same amount of damage as just shooting off 1 rocket at a single time was like jumping over the Grand Canyon, and if I did that, I got a penny, right? Now, if I stand still and shoot infinite rockets that have a pretty high damage calculation here, it's like killing a cockroach and getting a gold bar for it. That's fucking awesome. And it's a super good upgrade. Now, I definitely think this should have been a soul gem. And this might take away a little bit from him if the bottom path is bad. I couldn't tell you if it is or not yet. But if the bottom path isn't the greatest or doesn't really work up as well as this, I don't know why you wouldn't pick this one. This is actually the best upgrade I've seen so far for him. And just to add on a little bit more pain, we have atomic clouds. We're committing fallout right here. We're actually causing the next nuclear explosion with this shit, because this is just added damage to rockets. This is just more. We're adding damage to rockets that we can fire now infinitely. Now, it's not to say that this upgrade obviously doesn't have its downfalls, right? You're standing still. You're still going to get hit. But if you can kill something faster than it can come hit you, what is your problem then, right? You know, some things still hit you, and if you're not fast enough, they'll probably still hit you, and blah, 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 blah. Who cares if it's not? Whatever. You're still shooting infinite fucking rockets. It's amazing. What game are you just like, oh man, I get to shoot infinite rockets? No. No one's like that. It's a good upgrade, and just adding more damage to something that, you know, is already, you know, causing mass warfare. Yeah, it's just obviously good. So, top path right now, I like it a lot. I like shooting a bunch of rockets. You could say it like takes away from everything else, but you know, at some point you will get to that point of health where you're like, huh, I have to stop. But until then, I'll shoot infinite rockets all day. Okay, on to the bottom path from that nuclear warfare with I-Beam Supreme that has super machine finger guns and professionally cool I-beams. If you wanted a quick summary of what this is and then go on to the next one, it's basically the last 2 primary path upgrades, but you just say double it and then give it back to me, because that's exactly what it is. It's just a finger gun upgrade and a I-beam upgrade, which creatively, pretty dog shit. I don't know why they would do that. It's actually like really insane that they're literally just back to back to back to back. But nonetheless, it does serve a little bit of use, I would say. So for the I-beam at least, it does make it do more damage, and again, longevity for the I-beam, which if you're going through the whole thing of the I-beam, you're absolutely insane. I don't know how you can just sit there and hold it. You're probably getting hit fucking 40 billion times. But other than that, it's cool. The thing I like about it though is just that it's damage upgrade, and you already know, the little hardwire with the eyeballs and this long reach, and it doing 20 damage now can hopefully kill bigger crowds easier now, right? But the top path could do it with infinite nukes. Okay, I'll stop talking about the top path. But yeah, it does help with a little bit with the area thing. Then finger guns. Okay, for me personally now, the finger guns are actually going faster than I think I can press the button. I don't know if that's just a me thing or that's just like the cap that they give you when you press the button. But I'm pretty sure like him shooting now actually does go faster than you tapping. Again, that might just be like a me, like placebo. I'm just trying to like believe in it or some shit. But it feels that way, so I'm just gonna say it is, and if it's not, then I'm wrong, and I'm sorry. You can fact check me on that one. That's one that I just really couldn't tell. But yeah, it's really boring, nonetheless. But hopefully the last one can at least step to somewhere where that top one was. Alright? Somewhere, someplace where. For the final upgrade of the battle path, we have laser mines. And let me tell you something, right? This one, I can tell you for 100% certainty, this is the truth. This isn't infinite nukes. This is nowhere near it. But it does actually have somewhat of a use. I don't actually find it to be that bad. I don't even find it to be like average. I do think it's a little bit above average. What it allows us to do is that if we press our laser button and we press square, which is a little bit of an awkward combo, let me just say real quick, it's just a little bit awkward. It's not hard to press both of them at the same time, but it's a little awkward. It allows us to drop down these drones. I'm going to put drones instead because these are not mines. And what it does is that it does, it tries to open up a can. It just does in a circular motion, does 30 damage, and it fucks off after that. It goes back into the sky to its planet where it came from. I don't know where it goes. But, yeah, it's not bad. If you definitely place them around areas, it does help just kind of contract and hit enemies. And they seem like they do actually go around it, so it can kind of be placed as like kind of like a semi-wall, which is kind of cool just to kind of create space around people. And they do kind of funk up the AI of the enemies. But, again, if we're fighting infinite nukes, right, this shit doesn't compare. And if I had to be honest, right, like, like the whole, like, video name, I would go with the top path. I find that so much more fun, just honestly just dropping shit on people. I don't think the bottom path is far, even though I've been saying, like, nukes all the way. I definitely don't think the bottom path is far from the top path, just because I definitely think the finger guns upgrade and the laser beams and these mines do all adequately, like, somewhat add up to be a pretty nice path. It's lazy. The mines is cool, but the other two are lazy, and I really wouldn't use it comparatively to what the top has. But I can't just say, like, it's not useful in some way, right? I definitely think it makes him just, like, overall stronger character. And if you wanted to have more of, like, a more balanced type bouncer, I definitely think going for the bottom path would just, help you save you from just overusing a single move. I definitely think you'll start using a lot more of the moves in general. But if you're just someone that has an insane power complex and just wants to fucking explode everything, the top path is a way for you to go. And last up, for our soul gem, we have Fists of Destruction, which allows us to fist every Skyland's enemy until they die, or cream, either the two. And honestly, it's not as cool as Infinite Nukes. Not to bring it up again or anything, but like, Infinite Nukes is pretty cool. The reason I actually do have some reasons why I don't actually kind of like this. The reason being is that, okay, for one, square and triangle. Square is like on the left, and triangle is on the top. And for me at least, it's a little hard to press both buttons at the same time. So I kind of have to do like a claw method of doing it to get the fist going. And I personally don't like that. But that's maybe more a personal thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really stupid and I, for some reason, can't think of ways to press two buttons at the same time with my thumb. But I actually have some other qualms that I feel like are probably more universal. And that is when you actually do activate your big fist that way, you're not allowed to shoot it except for a couple seconds later. And the reason why this is pretty, bad is like I kind of want to shoot it like now, not later. And if you get hit before you shoot off your big fist turn into small fist and never get shot out. And guess what? That means no damage. And you know what that means? It was a waste of my fucking time. So it's not bad. It does 75 damage. That's actually pretty solid. It does more than anything else. It does more than nukes, but it doesn't do more than infinite nukes. So yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's not infinite nukes. Me and infinite nukes go all the way back, and it's just not infinite nukes. Alright, so we just took a look at Bouncer and every single move he's got. And I am ready to give me a little bit of a rating, right? So, Bouncer as a football star, or sorry, not football star, Roboto Ball Star, All-Star, right? I'm guessing those Mabus thought he was like a 5, the greatest of greats. But I took a little bit more of a critical lens on Bouncer, and I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5. He is more of an average baller, might I say. And the reason I'm going to give him that is, I guess you can probably just hear from everything else, is like, one, I don't think his soul gem is really that much of a soul gem comparatively to nukes. And, like that weird displacement of power doesn't really feel right. Again, Infinite Nukes is just like Trigger Happy's Infinite Minigun. It should be in the exact same place because they both do the exact same thing. They are very risky just to keep holding and doing, but they are extremely fun and extremely powerful for it. So yeah, I definitely think it should have been in the Soul Gem spot. And with that, I think the paths are not equal. I definitely would always pick the top path personally, but I can see that the bottom path does have uses, and I definitely think if you want to have a more rounded and more balanced out, just overall bouncer gameplay, definitely go with the bottom path. I wouldn't hate you for it, but it's not infinite nukes, so you know what? Take that as you will. And with that, I enjoy bouncer. I don't think average should mean like they're bad or I find them to be worse or anything. I just don't find them to be extremely good. I definitely would pick them up once in a while, but it's not like someone I'm like going towards, right? Like if they're not my favorite. So yeah, bouncer, nice little fun. I do enjoy him. I like infinite nukes. I actually like him a lot. If I had to pick like that, if I had to pick like this is his path and this is what I would rate him, he definitely would get a 4 just because I like it a lot. But no, I don't do that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you want to see your character next, leave it down in the comments. And just like this video, I don't forget if I mentioned it, but actually that little tip that I got for the laser beams came from the comments. So if you do have a character out there that has some like little weird jank or a little bit of tech that they don't really tell you, or something that you feel like I could easily miss out on, please let it be known. I don't want it to be something that I miss out on and then people tell me later on. So if it's not something that's like not clearly labeled or, you know, something like that, I definitely would like just having like a nice little tip, just being like, hey, you can do this with this character with this move, and it would probably benefit you a lot more. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll trust you guys. If if you're the one asking for it, you must know it. So yeah, that would be pretty cool to know. But other than that, thank you guys for watching all the way through. I was a lot more rambunctious in this one. I don't know why, but I just kind of was. And you tell me how you feel about it. But yeah, thank you. And I hope to see you in the next one. Honestly, Reddits come out every Saturday. So if you want a good pinpoint next Saturday, guess what? There'll be another one. So yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. Peace.